Everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer for Kentucky Derby Prep Recap. We're going to take a peek back at the Grade 1 Florida Derby. Greatest Honor looking to pull off a clean sweep at Gulfstream Park over the winter. They break from the gate. Greatest Honor post position 7, number 7 at 4-5. And Mike, as usual, just doesn't have that early lick.
Yeah, couldn't get the position. It doesn't look like he could get the position that his rider wanted him to get in, Dan. So he winds up having to take probably a little further back and drop over to the inside. Not a huge excuse, Dan, but I was a little surprised that Jose Ortiz elected to keep this horse on the rail for a long way.
Keep an eye on the number 5. That's Known Agenda. Arad Ortiz has this Todd Pletcher trainee in a perfect spot, in a loose pocket, just in behind the leaders. What a difference blinkers have made with this horse. This was a horse that had no early speed, and now he's very tactical.
Yeah, his last 2 races are certainly a step in the right direction with the blinkers going on. He gets an absolute perfect trip in this race, Dan. A lot of it, obviously worked to his advantage, but I think you have to give him some credit just for being able to put himself in this position. I mean, he really travels strongly all the way up the backstretch, and he just keeps inching forward.
Keep an eye on the gray on the lead right now. That's the number 8, Soup and Sandwich. Only his 3rd lifetime start for Mark Casse. Up on a fair pace with Nova Rags down to his inside. Collaborate, stymied perhaps by a wide trip. Soup and Sandwich eventually puts the speeds away and is very game to hold second.
I thought he ran well in here, Dan, for only his 3rd lifetime start. You're going to see right about here. Here comes the winner after him right now. He's really no match for Known Agenda off the turn here. He just has no real response to this horse taking over, but he stays on pretty gamely. Still a little green, still very late to change his lead in the stretch, but he ran pretty well in here.
Known Agenda is now taken over, as Mike mentioned. Soup and Sandwich, game for second. This was where Greatest Honor made his kick last time out after seemingly outpaced on the turn. This time only could basically clunk up for 3rd. I understand what you're saying about him being down inside. I kind of agree with you. It didn't look like he liked that last time when he was inside and he started running when he got to the far outside. I'm really not sure what more Jose Ortiz could have done, however. He had to save some ground, I guess. If he was going to go wide, he would have had to have gone wide all the way. I don't think it would have made a difference, the ground loss.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not trying to suggest it's some kind of big excuse for Greatest Honor, who, clearly it feels like regressed a little bit here. I was just surprised to see them do that because it did sort of seem like he didn't really want to be in behind horses. On the other hand, I mean, you're right. What could Jose have done here? He actually had this horse in the right kind of trip for a closer where he didn't lose any ground. He followed the winner all the way around the track, and he did get clear in the stretch. He just didn't fire a good shot.
Collaborate was the second choice in this race off a very impressive victory against weaker competition. And I think he has a little bit of an excuse in here. He was hung out wide chasing that pace all the way through the first turn into the backstretch. He lost ground most of the way. All things considered, it was okay. He's not a Kentucky Derby horse. He's not going to have the points to get in, but he's a horse to continue following, I think, into the summer.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I mean, the thing to like about him in here, aside from the fact that he was just really impressive breaking his maiden, but I feel like one of the reasons maybe you would have liked him in the Florida Derby here is because you thought there was a chance he'd get to the front in this race. And as it turns out, he just wasn't fast enough to get to the front. He tried to get there. I mean, you could see Gaffalione trying to get him to the lead in here. He just got outrun to the front. That got him caught out wide, and he was really never a threat in this race, Dan. He hung around for a while, but you could tell on the second turn that he wasn't going to win.
Nova Rags is a likable horse trained by Bill Mott. We saw him saving ground, contesting the pace with Soup and Sandwich all the way around. Just no match for the top 3, but he's an okay horse, and I think Mott has options with him. I'm really not sure how far he wants to go. I think he could make a nice 7/8 horse. He might make a nice mile and a 16th horse.
I agree with all that. He's not ready for this kind of competition right now. All things considered, he ran fine in this race while never really looking like he was going to win. I wouldn't be surprised to see him cut back for his next start.
And while a lot of folks are going to be down on Spielberg, who was sort of a one-paced 8th, he had a tremendous excuse in this race. You want to talk about ground loss. He was wide every step of the way, and with that trip, you couldn't make an impression.
True enough. I mean, if you want to give him an excuse, feel free. He did no running in here.
Known Agenda Let's take a look at his horse card. This is a horse that we were following last year at 2 for Todd because in only his second lifetime start, he beat Greatest Honor at Aqueduct, and he did so going this 9 furlong distance. Now, he was beaten in the Remsen by a pretty good horse in Brooklyn Strong. We watched that race, and he was down on the inside over sloppy going, and he didn't seem to like it. And then the Sam F. Davis, he just fell far behind. The blinkers, and I think just normal maturity, have really moved this horse forward. 94 Buyer speed figure in the Florida Derby, and I still think he has some upside potential.
No, I agree. And he's just getting good at the right time, Dan. The blinkers have clearly made a difference for this horse. It's 2, very nice wins in a row for Known Agenda now. And he's going to go into Kentucky, a very hot horse for a very good trainer.
He was a $135,000 buyback as a yearling. You look at his pedigree. I mean, he's bred to run all day long. He's by the Super Stallion Curlin. The dam won the Grade 1 Vanity, going 1 1/8 on synthetic. And as we take a look at the prices for the Florida Derby, let's talk about these 3 horses. They're all going to go to Kentucky, specifically Greatest Honor. Greatest Honor is a horse with no early speed that has worked against him in this race. Shug McGahee, he says blinkers are going on for the Kentucky Derby. If he could somehow at least stay within range, all of a sudden his odds are a lot more appealing on the first Saturday in May.
Yeah, I mean, I think what he has going for him, I mean, he's clearly talented, Dan. You're still waiting for this horse who has a lot of things pointing in his direction. You're still waiting for him just to run a fast race. It's just something he hasn't done yet. And obviously, it's very hard to win a race like the Derby when you're just not fast enough to do so. He's probably going to need the right trip. We'll see if the blinkers actually go on and if they help his cause. At least in his defense, now with the big Baffert horse, Life is Good out. Where are the fast horses so far? Nobody's really broken through, Dan. So even though he's slow, he's not that far off the faster horses in this division right now.
Soup and Sandwich is very lightly raced. He ran a nice effort considering his inexperience. He's still going to be very, very inexperienced going into the Derby. However, is it too much too soon on the first Saturday in May for a horse like Soup and Sandwich?
I mean, I would say it probably is. Listen, he's run well in all 3 of his starts, though. I think this horse really does have some talent. I guess I wonder if they're rushing him a little bit, but what are you supposed to do? You have a 3-year-old who can really run, and he has the points for the Derby. I guess you just run him.
But Known Agenda has blossomed this winter in South Florida for Todd Pletcher ever since the blinkers were added. 94 Buyer speed figure, gets the Derby qualifying points in the Grade 1 Florida Derby, and he took down a nice win in Greatest Honor. But if you're a Greatest Honor fan going into the Florida Derby, you get a better price now off of this effort, and you get blinkers for the first time at Churchill Downs.